Welcome back, party people. You are listening to Crossplay, our video game podcast here at the Whatnauts. It is Tuesday, May 26th, 2020, and this is episode 27. Coming up on today's show, we are going to be talking about Embracer Group and Take-Two. Both have a ton of video games coming out down the road. They had their fiscal calls this past week, so we have some numbers to report from that. We also will be talking about all kinds of game showcases and more coming from IGN and Summer Games Fest, as well as the MPD numbers, which are off the charts this month. People are buying a lot of video games. All that and more in just a sec. For now, my name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined, as always, by Ignacio Rojas.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good, man. How about yourself?
Yeah. Doing pretty good. Living that quarantine life still.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing more than that. Nothing pretty eventful.
Melissa and myself were recording the captain's log this past week, and that's just kind of what it came down to. Is like we don't really have many stories to tell right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's we're all stuck inside. So you did have a holiday this past week.
Yeah.
You had Thursday and Friday off, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's National Friday because some stuff, history, you know.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we got Friday off and
Good stuff.
then Thursday off, and then my school gave us Friday off too,
Nice.
just to close up, not have that odd day in between 2 free days.
Okay. Good
Yeah.
stuff. Good stuff. We had Friday. Well, no. Let's see. We had Monday off. We had yesterday
Yeah.
off. Because it is Memorial Day weekend. I did a whole lot of nothing, pretty much. Well, I spent the day with my girlfriend, so we just like watched cartoons and played video games and stuff like that. So it was just
What did you
a whole
watch?
nothing. Let's see. We watched that kind of funny comedy special. We
Oh
watched
yeah,
that together.
that was
We
good.
watched some Steven Universe because that's
Okay.
one of her favorite shows, and I hadn't seen it. So we're on season 4, I think, is the one we just started. So we've been watching that. That's been a lot of fun. And then we'll get into it in just a sec. But I played some Life is Strange before the storm with her. So that was a lot of fun. But Ignacio, I am recording live on my new PC.
Ooh, nice. Congrats.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm excited. I'm still in the process of setting everything up. I just did kind of the bare minimum to make sure we could record for tonight. Still have a bunch of files and stuff that I need to transfer and stuff like that. But I'm excited.
Okay, so what are we talking about? How many flops? Because last time you weren't able to tell me any details.
Flippity flops.
What's the rhyming there?
Okay, so let me see if I can pull this thing up here because it's all Greek to me. All the stuff that I got here.
What's this 16 JB?
What is the 16 gigabits? What are those things? What are these little gigabits running around here? Where is it? I'm looking for the list of parts, friend. Here we go. Okay. Let's start with the. Right now, I have a 1 terabyte SSD inside right now. I actually
Nice.
did get a 4 terabyte hard drive as well, but the hard drive came dead on arrival.
Ooh.
So I'm gonna have to send that back and get a replacement. But let's see here for my graphics card. I have is that it? Was that the one I got? No. Oh. For my graphics card, I have the XFX Radeon RX 5600 XT.
Okay.
Thick 2. Thick with 2 C's. THICC, no joke. That's in the actual name here.
Really?
Yeah. It's thick.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I don't really understand what any of this means.
Mhm.
I told the person that I was making this for, I was like, this is gonna be for podcasting, streaming, doing a lot of video editing, and then some gaming on top of that. I
Mhm.
do prefer consoles and stuff like that, but I also have the the AMD Ryzen Threadripper 8-core, 16 threads. I don't know. I have the
Okay.
ASRock
Sounds good.
X399 Tai Chi motherboard. I have 4 of the Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro 16 gigabyte RAM cards,
Okay.
stuff like that. So
Sounds good.
yeah, I mean it's
Yeah.
working so far, but all I've done so far is watch YouTube. So
All that power just for YouTube.
I mean, I was watching YouTube as I was like downloading Skype and OBS and setting that stuff up and setting up my stream deck and things like that. But
Yeah, I would recommend you go into. I don't remember the specific name of the site or the URL, but it's Can You Run It? And there
okay,
you can see if your PC can run whatever game you want to see.
nice.
I recommend you do that.
I will have to look that up. Speaking of which,
Speaking of
I
games,
think speaking of that and games and all of that stuff, so I recently played through Resident Evil 2 Remake. I did Leon's story.
all the way
I
through?
finally beat that one. Yeah.
Finally.
Um.
Just Leon.
Yeah. Just that one, and I'm done with it. It's not for me. I'm fine if I don't go back and do Claire's story or whatever her name was. But
Yeah, clear.
I decided to play that one because I was like, well, maybe I'll play Resident Evil 3 since like a month ago we were like, I don't know what games are still coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was not going to play Resident Evil 3, but now I might because with my graphics card, I got a reward thing. I can't tell if it's I get all of these things or if I get to pick one. That's something I still have to go look up and check and see here. But I can get Resident Evil 3 remake, Monster Hunter World, the Ice World thing expansion. I forget the name of that one. Yeah. And then Game Pass. And I don't know if it's like a month or if it's 2 months or who knows what. But
that's a weird list of games.
Yeah,
that's
it was just like
very random.
It was just like, hey, thanks for buying this. You guys can get, and again, I don't know if it's I get all 3 of those things. It sounded like it, but I don't know, so I'll have to go and check. So I might still play Resident Evil 3 now that I have it for free, technically.
Yeah, I mean, if you have to choose, I would recommend 3 because I don't think, well, Game Pass you can find it for very cheap nowadays.
Yeah,
Microsoft always practically gives it away, and then Iceborne. I mean, it's fun if you play with people.
Yeah,
but
I'm not really interested in that one.
Yeah,
but we'll see what happens with that. Speaking of Game Pass, though, that is something I didn't think about with this PC. It's like, oh yeah,
Yeah, no, you
I
get
can get Game
Game
Pass
Pass for
on
PC.
the PC here.
Yeah, it even has. If I'm no, well, now I'm doubting myself. I was gonna say it has more games than the one for Xbox, but now I'm
Okay,
doubting myself. I think it does have more.
interesting. Because yeah, that was basically my whole reason for jumping on to Xbox right away. Like I want to get Game Pass so I can play
Hmm.
all the Halo games again and do all the ones that I missed. Same thing for Gears. And I think they just put Red Dead Redemption
Yeah,
online there, or Red Dead 2.
related to I doubt they would put just the online in there.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
like that was the thing of like even if they don't have very many new games right at the start, I
Hmm.
have such a backlog of stuff that I missed
Yeah.
since I didn't have an Xbox. So who knows? I
Yeah, I mean,
potentially have access to that now too.
yeah, I mean that's one of my biggest points against getting an Xbox console is that you can already get most of the games on PC.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, so there's really no reason to get an Xbox because the exclusive, most of them will come to PC. That's something Microsoft is putting an effort into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just
So
want
yeah,
you in the Microsoft
hmm
ecosystem.
I bet that most, if not all, of the games that you want to play are already available on
Yeah.
the PC Game Pass.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. So I'll
Hmm.
eventually explore that soon,
You should.
hopefully.
Hmm.
We'll see. I have a lot of stuff to still do. I have a second monitor. So I bought two monitors to go with my new PC. And
Mm,
I only have one of them plugged in right now because the graphics card only has one HDMI port, and then it has I think
okay.
3 DVI ports. So I had bought
Mm,
these monitors and bought HDMI cables to go with them, and it does not take both of them. So
yeah.
I will have to get a different cable or something to hook them up.
Yeah,
So
or an adapter.
yeah, yeah, something
Hmm.
like that.
Yep.
And then all the rest of my podcast files and video editing stuff and all that good
Yeah.
stuff.
I mean, hopefully this one doesn't give you as much problems as the last one.
Hopefully not. It's already working out a lot better because I'm on, like I have OBS, Skype, Audacity, and the internet all up, which
Mm,
seems like that's not that much, but my Mac literally could not handle it. So
yeah.
I'm super happy already. Let's see here. Let's see. More about video games though. I jumped into Shadow of the Colossus.
Finally.
Finally. Yeah, man. I've beaten the first 8 of the Colossi. I think that's
Oh,
about
you
half of
you
them.
got that far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's more or less half of them.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
hopefully I can dive back in soon. I'm enjoying it so far.
Yeah.
The first thing that I noticed though, those controls are not good.
Well, yeah, you
I
have to think that it was made for the PS2, and
yeah
if you go back into that era, control layouts weren't really
yeah.
haven't hadn't been nailed by then.
I was expecting
So
that
yeah.
a little bit of just like okay, it's an older game. Um, like I have to have that mindset going in. So there's gonna be some things that's just like ugh, this camera sucks, or the X, Y, and Z, and but yeah, it's also a remake. Like
Hmm.
I correct
Mm,
me if I'm wrong, but they make it from the ground up, or did they just like
as far as I know,
remaster it?
as far as I know, it was made from the ground up because they did release for the PS3 an HD version.
I gotcha. See, I think
So I think the whole deal with this one was that it was from the ground up.
that's what I thought, but like that seems to signify to me like they could have put more work into a better control scheme with this, or just because like all right. So for example, in that game, I forget which button now because it's been a couple days, but there's the button you hit and it like lifts up your sword and it shines the light on it and it's like, hey, go in that direction.
Yeah.
Whenever I hit that button, the camera just looks straight up in the sky. And then
That's weird.
I can't move the camera back down unless I let go of the button. So that whole like compass to like signify where you're supposed to go basically just doesn't work for me. Maybe that's a bug, but then
yeah, no, that's weird. I don't remember having that. I do remember holding my sword up and looking forward.
Yeah, but it's like moving the character forward at the same time of operating the camera just is not working. Like there's something that is trying to pull the camera to certain points and stuff like that, and it's like there was a jump. I had to swim out into the lake to get to this platform, to go up this long path, and then like make this diagonal jump to get onto this pillar before I could get onto the platform for the the next Colossi. And the guy just would not make that jump. And I was just like, this shouldn't be, like, it's not difficult to make this jump, but he just, like, wouldn't go in a diagonal direction. I was just like, why? Like, this should be so simple. And I was just like, I cannot get these controls down. It's starting to get better. Like, I'm more used to it now, but it's still just like, I am having a rough time with these. So,
yeah,
but
I don't remember having all those problems. I do remember the controls being a bit weird, but to the point that it gets in the way, I don't remember that ever happening.
Yeah. So, we'll see. But besides that, I am enjoying it a lot so far. It is very mysterious. I like it. I am still trying to kind of figure out what the story is, because I don't know exactly what the story is. I've kind of heard some things just from
there isn't much of a story, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean it's like you're taking your sister to go to this. Well, I don't know. You're
I
taking
always
this
thought that it
woman.
was your loved one, someone you love.
Maybe it is. But you're taking this woman to this like temple where these gods exist or something. And you're like, hey, she's dead. I don't want her to be dead. You can bring her back. And they're like, well, yeah, we could, but how about you go kill these colossi for us first? And you're like, all right, sure, fine. So you can go do all of that stuff. But then after you kill each colossi, it like transports you back to that temple, and the like spirit of that colossi is like standing on top of you, like, who the fuck is this kid?
Yeah.
So I don't know what's happening with that thing yet. Of like, is something gonna happen when I kill all of these things?
I don't know. Do you want me to tell you? Because by the end, it does kind of make sense as to why everything is all that is
spoil it, because it's it's not that long of a game. I played for I think like 3 hours. And that was the first half of the game, so I'll finish it hopefully by next time we record.
Yeah. So. Other than what you just mentioned, the game doesn't have much of a story. By the end, I do think that all of your questions will have been answered in a way. But yeah, for now, just think of it as I don't get it, but I'll get it soon.
Yeah, that's kind of how I'm taking it, especially since there's like no bad guys or no NPCs and stuff. You just go from boss to boss.
Yeah.
Well, not bad.
So yeah. So think of it as in the context of it being a PS2 game. What do you think? Because the game is basically the same as the PS2 game. So
Yeah.
what do you think in that context of what it did?
Well, I'm trying to think of like what other like open world style
Hmm.
games there were around that time. And I guess in that sense, like that would have been something new to me. Like thinking back to what I played on my PlayStation 2 back in the day, like open world really wasn't a thing.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, it kind of was on certain things, but I was playing like
Yeah.
Final Fantasy X and The Bouncer and stuff like that. um, so I liked that. I also think of like Metal Gear Solid, where I guess I mean no, that's not open
No,
world, but
no, not really.
it's like bigger levels and you can kind of go about them different ways.
Sure.
But um, yeah, like I was playing that stuff, and if I'm not mistaken, I think the Metal Gear Solid 3 came out around the same time as this.
Uh, it came out on the PS2. I don't know exactly when.
I'm only mentioning that because I swear I heard someone mention that on a podcast recently.
Yeah, I don't
Or
remember exactly when it came out.
about it, but like I remember playing Metal Gear Solid 3 because one of my older roommates had that game, and I borrowed it and played it, and that was years after it had come out. Um, and I love that game. That game
Hmm.
is amazing. Um, and it has its like weird wonky controls and stuff like that. But I feel like this game is still very bare bones compared to that stuff.
Mm,
Like even
yeah,
thinking of like Final Fantasy X, like I remember those systems just they're being so much.
yeah.
Whereas
Well,
this is like, okay, go beat the next boss,
yeah. I
and
mean,
that's it.
that's because I think the game sets out to be very, I don't know, straightforward. Not
Mm-hmm.
what was the
I
word
mean,
I was gonna
yeah,
say?
it's very simple. Like I'm
Yeah,
not
very
faulting
simplistic.
it for that. I actually really like it. I just don't know. Like I all right. So before playing it, my kind of idea of this game was that it's an artsier game.
Hmm.
Uh, it didn't necessarily do anything new or different, but it was just so unique in what it did do that it was just like, okay, this is something special. It's something different in that sense, which
Hmm.
is what I'm getting. And so far, I am enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, it is a simplistic game and an artistic game, but I think it succeeds at it.
Yeah,
And the reason
true.
I was asking was because I first played Shadow of the Colossus on the HD remake or
Mm-hmm.
remaster that came out on the PS3. And so, as
Okay,
someone
gotcha.
who grew up playing PS2 games, it did kind of like blow my mind that there was a game like this that had a world that it was this open, this big, and also the Colossus themselves, these huge creatures. You just go finding the world and beat them down. It, I mean, it really surprised me having grown up with the PS2 that there was a game like this, and
Yeah,
it was similar to something that happened to me when I first played MGS1, which was years later, many years later. Having also grown up with the PS1, it
gotcha.
surprised me that something like this existed in that console, knowing and having played what was in there. So the reason I asked was because it did blow my mind seeing that something like this existed back then.
Yeah, yeah. I think I would have been of the same mind, but like, whoa, this is deep. This is cool.
What else have you
Last but
played?
not least, yeah, I mentioned it. I did the first episode of Life is Strange Before the Storm with my girlfriend. We've been playing. We've like been playing a couple different games. We've played through the Life is Strange, just like the first one. We played through The Last of Us. Now we're going back to Life is Strange Before the Storm, one that I've already played. But she liked that first one so much. I was like, well, there's a little bit more if you want the prequel. We can do that. She was like, yeah, let's do it. So I did that yesterday. That was also something that I was like, man, these controls are not what I remember them to be. Um, so it's not bad because that game is also very simple. You don't really do much in that game besides like, okay, move the character forward. But it was just like, this seems to be fighting me just a little bit, but nothing that was as bad as just like I hit the button to do the navigation thing in Shadow of the Colossus, and the camera just looks up. It's like, what are you doing? No, not that bad. So it's good. It's fun. I enjoy it. Life is Strange is a fantastic game. About all I have to say on that.
Mm-hmm.
So what about you, Ignacio? What have you been up to? What have you been playing?
Well, first, I played a couple of VR games that I wanted to talk about. First, out of nowhere, Sony released an Iron Man VR demo. I wasn't really expecting it. Yeah, so I checked it out. And what the demo is basically, it gives you like a tutorial. The first half is like a tutorial, and then you play the first mission of the game. And so the way the game works is that, so you have a controller in each hand, and that controller kind of represents like Tony's own gauntlets.
Sure.
So what you do is that when you press the trigger, the propulsors on the gauntlets, that makes them fire up. So say you want to go forward, you have to be pointing backwards. Kind of like how, if it was real, how it would happen.
Okay, that makes sense.
So you want to go forwards, you point backwards, you start leaning forward while moving your arms back. You want to stop, you do the opposite, you actually aim forward. You want to go up, you aim down, and whatever. And then the game also gives you that if you press a button, you start shooting his blasters.
Okay.
Yeah. So what the game basically is that it's you as Iron Man. It mostly takes place in the sky as you're flying, and it kind of feels like an on rails shooter, but without the rails, in a way.
Okay.
What were you shooting? And you can also punch people, and that was a lot of fun.
So is it like a kind of like a dogfight style thing where you're just flying around shooting people and punching them and stuff like that?
Yeah, you could say that. For example, the first mission is what they first showed of the game. It's you as Tony. You are on your private jet. It gets attacked. You fly off the jet into the sky, and your suit grabs you, and it's basically you trying to protect the jet while these other robots start appearing. They start shooting at you, and you have to fly around this through the sky, beating all these robots.
Okay.
And I think that's basically what the whole game will be. It's you flying and shooting at all these robots. So there's where it comes the on-rail shooter without the rails.
Sure.
So I guess like a dogfighting game. You could say that. But it's VR, and it was so much fun playing as Iron Man.
Yeah.
It was so cool. I think it really captures well the play, how it should play. how
That's
VR
cool.
Iron Man game should play. And I only have a few complaints. For example, you have to constantly be firing up your thrusters.
Uh-huh.
So there's no way to have you just hovering. You have to constantly be. So you want to stay still. You
Okay,
constantly
so
have to
yeah.
be firing them up and then stopping, then firing them up and then stopping. There's no way to have you hover, and that was a minor
Interesting.
complaint I had. It's not a huge complaint when you're fighting people, but it is a complaint when you have to stand still.
Now, so
Um,
question.
mhm.
So if you're holding the triggers, are the triggers is it where you push them in and it's automatically full
No, they are
blast, or
they are like strength sensitive. How do you call it? Pressure sensitive. So if
gotcha.
you do it just a bit, it doesn't go all the way.
Would
But
you be
still,
able to
I
hover
didn't.
that way
I
if
thought
you
so,
like?
but I didn't find I couldn't do that. I wasn't able.
Huh.
Maybe it was just me, but I wasn't able to do that. And even then,
Weird.
if you want to hover and you're just pressing it, say halfway through, it does start to bother a bit your finger.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it wouldn't be an ideal way. But yeah,
Okay.
that's a minor complaint. And then the other complaint was that you are supposed to have two kinds of firing weapons. One is the regular repulsors on your hands, and the
Mhm.
other one are rockets. Those are just like your stronger attack,
Sure.
and you can actually hone them into enemies. But the problem was that I didn't find out that you had that alternative weapon until after I beat the story, and that was just by accident.
Huh.
Because so apparently you have to put your hand in a kind of like a different way. Like you've seen Iron Man 1, I'm guessing.
Right. Yeah.
So you know that scene where he first pops up into that Middle Eastern camp and he starts killing all those people.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a scene where he shoots a rocket, and what he does is like he points forward, but his fist points down
Right.
so
Yeah.
that the rocket comes out. So apparently that's what you have to do to make the rocket be available. But even then, that's an awkward way to actually point at something because you still have to point with the regular controller put. Yeah, so that's basically the problem. And also, I'm not 100% sure that's how you do it because even when I figured out that you could shoot rockets,
Mm-hmm.
I was testing it out and I couldn't make it work 100% of the time like that. So
Gotcha.
even then, I'm not sure if that's the correct way to do it. So yeah, I mean, again, it's a minor complaint, but yeah, it's a bit weird that they give you firing, another way to shoot people, but the game doesn't even tell you how to do it.
Yeah. But you
Even
would
more,
say.
the game makes you the
Go
way
ahead.
I've
Sorry.
the way I found out that you could shoot rockets was because the game, after you beat it, it gives you like a challenge option.
Okay.
So the game just drops you, gives you 3 targets, and it tells you shoot them down. And I start shooting at them with the regular blasters because that's all I've been doing all of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't figure out why they weren't breaking and why the game wasn't allowing me to progress. And
Gotcha.
it took me a while, but I don't know what I did at that. All of a sudden, I shot some rockets. So again, the game did a weird job making you find out that you have this extra firing mode.
Interesting. But are you having fun with it?
Oh, it
Overall?
was a lot of fun.
Good.
It was a lot of fun being able to play as Iron Man. I do think that it did capture it well
Good.
in
'Cause
VR
yeah, that
form, and it
one,
was pretty cool.
that game kind of got the short end of the stick. 'Cause they delayed it the same day The Last of Us was delayed.
Mhm.
And then they announced the new release date for the Last of Us, and there was no mention of
Yeah.
Iron Man VR. So,
Yeah, no,
uh,
they got delayed at the same time, and no one was talking about the Iron Man delay. It was almost as if only The Last of Us had been delayed.
yeah.
And yeah, then it took a while for them to announce a specific date for Iron Man, even after they gave one for The Last of Us.
hmm Which we will mention that later on in the show.
Hmm.
Release date.
But yeah, I can't wait. Even
Cool.
then, even
Good stuff.
before all this is one of my most anticipated games.
Good
So
stuff.
I'm glad to see that it actually plays and it is fun.
Okay.
But yeah, like I said, I played a couple of VR games, and the other one was Echo Arena. So I don't know if you know anything about it.
I don't. Is this the one where like it's a first person shooter, but after you die, your
No,
like ghost is still there?
no.
You know what
I mean,
No.
there's Echo something and Echo Arena. I know there's two of these games, and maybe the other Echo is that, but that's not what Echo Arena is.
Okay.
So what Arena is basically like a competitive sport game in VR, a futuristic competitive game. So basically, it's a team of I think 4 or 5v5,
Mm-hmm.
and it's you and your team are in this arena in zero gravity. So you move in zero gravity, and the point is that there's this disc, you like a frisbee that you have to get into the opponent's goal. So it's basically this zero G sport of competitive frisbee. Let's call it.
Weird.
And yeah, but I thought it was so cool doing this in VR, being there, floating, catching the frisbee, fighting against your opponents, and I thought it was so cool, the actual experience of doing that. And I thought it was a pretty good use of VR, seeing this new thing, new sport, let's call it, in VR, this inventive thing. And yeah, it got me really hyped for it, and I think it was one of a good showcase of what VR can do. It was so much fun.
I am looking it up on YouTube right now.
Yeah, I know I didn't make a good job explaining it.
And go over here.
Let's call it 4v4 0G competitive frisbee throwing.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so it looks kind of like this sci-fi
Yeah.
futuristic. That you know what this reminds me of?
Hmm.
Blitzball.
That's from Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy X. Yeah, you're in
Yeah.
this like arena. I guess there's two goals on the opposite ends that you have to get them in, but the playing field has all of this like debris and things like these obstacles that you have to dodge and stuff.
Hmm.
It looks like, huh, wild.
Yeah, and so like I
That looks
said, it
fun.
is in zero gravity, and that makes it more fun, but also harder to control
Yeah.
because so the way you move is that you also have thrusters, but opposite to Iron Man VR, if you want to go forward, you have to be aiming forward. So it was kind of weird going from one to the other one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
so you
Yeah.
have kind of like thrusters in your hands. So with your hands, you have to be pointing towards where you want to go. So
Interesting.
it's in zero G. Say you see the frisbee, someone threw it, you have to fly towards the frisbee to try to grab it. And one of the things you can do is that you can grab to, I would say, any surface. So what that means is that if you want to, I don't know, a quick boost or a quick turning, you can actually grab into something and use your body to do that. Or say you want a boost and you catch up into to your opponent or to your teammate, you can actually grab onto them and boost yourself. I thought that was pretty cool. And also you can punch other people.
Huh.
So say you grab your opponent, you can actually punch your opponent to stun them. That actually stuns you for a bit. And you can also block it. So say someone tries to punch me, I can actually block it and it would stun my opponent. So
This
I
is
thought that was
wild.
an interesting different layer into it that made it even more fun. But yeah, like I said, it was so cool, so much fun.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, VR is full of interesting experiences.
It
And I
sure
like
is.
seeing newer ones, seeing how creative people can get.
That's cool.
But yeah, that was it for VR. The other games I've been playing, I've been playing a bit more of AC Origins.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I progressed much. And to my surprise, I didn't realize how far I had gotten my first time playing it. I was surprised how far I went.
Oh yeah.
Like I think just now I'm getting to where I left off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know how many hours you've put in so far?
I mean it has been several days, but the problem is that I'm not playing much every time I play. I play
Gotcha.
maybe an hour and a half. So I
Gotcha.
don't know how much long I've been playing. But I got to, I don't know if you remember, the Scarab. The
I think
Scarab's whole
so.
deal was that he would bury you in the sand and leave you to die. So I
Yeah.
just got there, I killed him, and now I'm off to the next one.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm so surprised how far I went because I thought I left off so much earlier. Like, to me, what I remembered, I thought I left off to the second location you got. I thought that's when I
Uh,
had enough. But no,
I
I made so much more progress.
I remember in that game, like after you do that like initial round of assassinations,
Hmm.
that it opens up even more beyond that.
Yeah, it does
So
open up. It tells you, hey, these are all the people you want to kill, but you have to do them in order because of leveling.
yeah.
The Scarab is the only one you can actually beat. You could technically go to the other ones, but it
Yeah.
will do not
I
you no good.
I somehow like a couple times like randomly ended up killing the right person. I was just like, oh, I had no idea who that guy was.
Yeah, that's one of the things I like of the game is that you can actually do stuff even not being on a mission and actually completing what you had to do.
Yeah.
Like it happened to me one time where I didn't have a mission active and I went into one of the strongholds and I killed a random guy that was giving me trouble, and that triggered a cutscene, and that apparently was a mission. That was pretty weird, and I like how you can actually do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Hmm. But yeah, so far I'm still sticking with it. I don't think I'll be able to play it all the way through right now because in June I want to start a playthrough of The Last of Us. So knowing how slowly I've been going through AC Origins, I don't think I'll make it so far. Too far.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and that's sad. But mm, that'll
You can
be.
always come back.
Yeah. Uh I've also still been playing Final Fantasy VII, the original. I I think I'm halfway through because I just made it past the first disc. I just made it to disc 2.
Gotcha.
And if I'm not mistaken, that's pretty much halfway through. And yeah, I'm still enjoying the story. I wasn't, like I said before, I wasn't expecting to stick with it this far. I just got through the most famous death in video game history.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. And to be honest, I know it should have been more impactful, and in a way, it was. But the way the game did it, I don't think it was as impactful as it should have been.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting one because there was someone else, some other podcast where they were talking about that same thing of just like, yeah, I got to that part and I was just like, that's it. Like I thought it
Mhm.
would be more impactful than that, and I
Yeah.
think from what I understand is that it was just the fact that something like that didn't happen in video games. Like you didn't kill off the main people
Yeah,
in a video game like that. So just the
yeah,
fact
it
that it
does.
did happen back then was like, whoa, they mean
Yeah,
business.
it does come out of nowhere. But yeah, like I said, it was an emotional scene, especially having gone through a lot with Aerith.
Mm-hmm.
But still, when I got there, I my thoughts were, I know I should feel more here, but for whatever reason, I'm not feeling more. It's sad. It's sad that they killed her, and I wanted her to leave, but I knew, of course, what was gonna happen. But for whatever reason, it wasn't as impactful as it should have been.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the graphics, it's a PS1 game, so there's only so much they could do with that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly what it was, but I'm still enjoying it. Still
Good.
enjoying the story, and I want to see it all the way through. I want to see what happens next.
Good stuff.
Yeah, and lastly, I just wanted to quickly talk about Picross S2. I don't know if you know what Picross is.
I've heard of them. I know Pear at IGN loves them. Loves those games, but I've never played them.
Picross is basically like the game gives you a grid, like say 15 by 15 or 20 by
Mm-hmm.
20 of just squares, and next to each row and column there are some numbers. So what you have to do is, the game tells you, like, say a column says 3 space 1. You know that there is one line, 3 square line, and then one square line in that one column. So you have to figure out, you have to fill it all up according to the directions that they give you with those numbers.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it's just fun going through it. I mean, it's, if you ever have gotten enjoyment out of Sudoku or crosswords, that's what we call.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's that kind of game. It's just like using your brain fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good old puzzle game.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Good stuff. Well, that means it is time for us to get into housekeeping. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you did not know, we have multiple podcasts here at the Whatnauts. You guys can find them on our website, thewhatnauts.com, and your favorite podcasting platform of choice. Recently, Ignacio, you joined us for a spoiler cast discussion of Scoob
Yeah.
on our podcast, The Reactor Core, which was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that one a lot.
Yeah, it was fun talking about Scoop.
It was indeed. So you guys can go check that out on our website. And if you guys like what we do, patreon.com/thewhatnauts is where you can support us for as little as $1 a month. You guys can get episodes early. You guys can get some exclusive content, which we have some new exclusive content going up on the site very soon for the Reactor Core. Again, which is one of the podcasts that we do. And we would also like to give a big shout out to our Patreon supporters at the $5 tier. So thank you, Sam, for helping us out and for supporting us for so long. We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sam.
Yeah. Okay. House has been kept. Let's move on. Let's get to the news. All right. 7 things to talk about this week on our news. It seemed like a light week, but I think there's actually some stuff to talk about here because we also have a packed new and notable section and a packed upper runners section. So there's a lot to get through here.
There's some meeting there, but I did feel like it was a slow news week.
Yeah. I do want to start out kind of at the top. Sony did announce a new state of play, which will cover gameplay for The Last of Us 2. That will be out tomorrow, as of the day that we are recording this, and will probably be, on the internet a few hours after we put this up. So we will be talking about that next week.
Should we talk about it?
Are
you going to watch it? I won't.
I'm going to watch it. I don't want to spoil it for other people. If so next week I won't spoil it and stuff. But if there's some good like mechanical stuff that we can talk about, sure.
I won't be watching it, so I don't know. We'll see what we'll talk about.
Sure. Sounds good. Okay, number 1. Let's talk about those NPD numbers. This is coming from Jeff Grubb over at VentureBeat. Writes, cooped up consumers spent truckloads of cash on video games in April, according to industry tracking firm the NPD Group. Spending on tracked new games, hardware, accessories, and game cards hit $1.5 billion. Games like Final Fantasy VII Remake and Animal Crossing New Horizons contributed to the growth. Here are the results. So we pulled a chart from this article, and let's see. Total video game sales was up 73%. In April 2019, it was 846 million. And April 2020, it was 1,466 million. So, a lot of money.
Yeah. I mean, it does make sense with the games that came out.
For sure. Yeah.
And I don't remember April last year being an exciting month for gaming. I think Resident Evil 2 came out that month, but other than that, Resident Evil 2 came out early in the year. I don't remember what came out then.
Video games that came out in... I can do this on the podcast now, and it's amazing. Video games that came out... Oh, not April 2020. April 2019. That's what we want. Let's... Game release dates. From Newsweek, what came out? I am not seeing anything. Oh, there was the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney trilogy. Falcon Age came out on PSVR. Earth Defense Force, Iron Rain. Final Fantasy X and X-2 HD Remaster. That must have been the Switch port.
Yeah.
World War Z? I thought that was out long before that. I don't know. My Time at Porsche.
Picross S3. Yep. I mean, Mortal Kombat 11 seems to be the...
11, yeah. That seems to be the bigger one. And Days Gone.
Oh, yeah.
I guess.
That is sell a lot. But yeah, other than that, it wasn't a very interesting month compared to April this year.
Yeah.
We got some bangers this month.
Indeed. Let's see. Video game hardware was up 163% in April 2019. Yeah, indeed. In April 2019, it was 160 million, and in April 2020, it was 420. Blaze it. 420 million. Yeah, a lot of Switches being bought.
Yeah.
Nintendo Switch.
Not only Switches, PS4, Xboxes.
For sure.
Those are also selling. right now.
Sure, those have been selling a lot as
Yeah.
well.
I mean, it
Let's
makes sense
see.
that people right now are stuck at home. So what else are you gonna do?
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Video game software. This includes physical and full game digital formats from the Nintendo eShop, PlayStation, Steam, and Xbox platforms for DLP participants. I don't know what a DLP
Wait, are you
participant is.
sure it is including eShop? Because Nintendo is always
Uh,
weird including eShop numbers.
I don't know if we know exact numbers of like this game sold this much or that game sold that much, but I think this is overall
Okay.
because it says that it includes it here. So, but April 2019 was 428 million. April 2020 was 662 million, which is a 55% increase.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, video game accessories and game cards was a growth of 49%, with 258 million last year and 384 million this year.
Mm.
Like you said, a lot of people buying up stuff, being like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm going to be stuck inside. I'm going to play some video games.
Yeah. It's all real good news for the industry, seeing that it's still alive and well,
Indeed.
doing fantastic.
Speaking of the MPD numbers, let's go through the top 10 for April 2020. Number 10 spot, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Interesting.
Yeah,
People don't talk about Red Dead Redemption 2 that much. So it is interesting to see it.
I feel like now is a good time to play that game, especially since we are stuck at home, right? Like, that was the one thing people were talking about. Oh, it's a long game. Oh, it's kind of boring because you have to go from one end to the opposite end of the map, and it takes forever and all that stuff. But I think Rockstar made something good there. Good for them. Number 9 is Madden NFL 20.
Of course.
Number 8 is MLB The Show 20.
Mm-hmm.
Number 7 is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Remastered.
Interesting.
Yeah. Number 6 is Resident Evil 3.
Which isn't a very good showing, considering it came out in April.
Yeah. True.
You would have had most of the month.
And our dear old Grand Theft Auto 5 coming in at number 5.
Gotta have it in there.
Wild. Yeah, that Resident Evil 3 didn't even beat that one. So,
God.
Coming in at the number 4 spot was NBA 2K20. Number 3 was Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Still killing it?
Yeah, still killing it. Though that has the little asterisk, which I'm sure does not include all of their digital sales and stuff like that. So,
which is even more impressive, considering
considering
that now it is harder to get physical copies.
Indeed. Coming in at number 2 was Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and holding down the number 1 spot, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah, boy.
Hell yeah. Dude, so it's been a couple weeks now since I've beaten that game, and I still think back and just like, man, that game was good.
Yeah, no, me too. And
fun game.
Granted, I'm playing the original 7, but yeah, I'm still thinking about Remake.
Let's see. I don't know. Nothing really here on that list that I want to talk about. Just this whole thing in general, though. Even one of my roommates, he has a PS4, but he doesn't play that much stuff. And he came to me like two days ago and was like, "Yeah, I bought let's see, what did he buy? He bought, God, what's the Ubisoft one with the hackers? Why am I blanking on the name? Watch Dogs. Yeah, he bought Watch Dogs 1 because he said that was on sale for like $5.
Yeah.
And then he bought something else as well. I don't remember what now, but he was like, "Yeah, I bought this game and I bought that game, and I'm just having fun." He played through all of the Nathan Drake collection recently. He's been playing
Nice.
Grand Theft Auto 5. So yeah, I mean, it's just like I don't necessarily think of him as that much of a gamer.
Mm-hmm.
And then he is being like, "Oh, I beat this game, I beat that game, I just bought this, I just bought that." And I'm like, "Hell yeah, man, good for you."
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, indeed. And then of course I'm just like, "Oh my god, wait till the new Watch Dogs. You can play as anyone." And I'm sure he's just like, "I don't know what this means or anything like that."
Yeah.
So good stuff. Let's move on to number 2, though. Number 2 in our news docket here, which is Assassin's Creed Valhalla's map size is a bit larger than Odyssey's, confirms Ubisoft. This is coming from Alex Avard at Games Radar, and in a recent interview, one of the game's producers said that the map size of Assassin's Creed Valhalla is bigger than 2018's Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which itself represented the largest sandbox the open world series had seen so far, coming in at 90 square miles of playable terrain. Holy cow, I didn't know it was that big. Quote, "I would actually say in terms of range, Valhalla is probably a bit larger than Assassin's Creed Odyssey," said the producer, whose name I will not try to pronounce, because there you go. What Ignacio?
No, I didn't nail it.
So yeah,
It's something like that.
I do not have the exact figures at this stage, but we have not only created the whole country, which is in this case England, but also a good part of Norway too. So this is an interesting one because a week ago, 2 weeks ago, they were saying that they were scaling back on the scope of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Now, they didn't specify by what they meant by scope, and a lot of people took that to mean the map size. And then here they are this week being like, no, the map is actually larger than 2 years ago. So this is an interesting one. What do you think of this, Ignacio?
I mean, having played through Odyssey, and one of my bigger complaints of it being how big it was, this isn't good news for me. And I do think that they, in a way, came out saying this because of what they said before. If you say your game is smaller than your previous game, you will get backlash. So I'm guessing they had to come out and say something like this to appease all those people that weren't happy with that news. I do think that you can have it both ways, having a smaller gaming scope, but still having it technically be bigger map size wise.
Right, yeah.
I just hope that it is indeed smaller in scope.
Yeah, like this is kind of teetering on the edge of something that I don't want for next generation, because when they first started talking about it, it was all like, oh, the load times are, a thing of the past. You won't have to wait on loads and stuff like that. But if they keep making these games bigger, right, and we keep going to 4K and 60 frames and all of that stuff, if these assets in these worlds are bigger, the load times will be longer.
Yeah, but I mean, in a way that will still be balanced out with the SSD and the more powerful consoles.
Stuff like that will help, yeah. But it's just this idea of like, I'm kind of good with the size of where games are at right now. Like
Mhm.
I mean, there's certain games out there that you can put in, 100 hours in and still not be done. I would rather put in 40 at the most
Mhm.
ish. I mean, there's certain things that I love spending time in those worlds, but it's still like that's kind of one of my fears is that they're just gonna continue to make these things bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and as a result, maybe we'll end up seeing less games because they keep wanting to make these huge, ginormous
Mhm.
ones. So
Yeah.
who
I don't
knows?
know. To me, it, a game having a bigger map isn't necessarily a bad thing, as long as the game itself doesn't feel that big. For example, going back to Final Fantasy VII,
Mm-hmm.
if when it comes time to remake part 2, part 3, and they have to remake the open world of the game, if they went for a huge map, I don't think that would be necessarily bad, because the game already does a good job moving you through the map in a way that makes sense and it doesn't feel cumbersome, the size of it.
Right.
So I do think that there is a way to have a big, huge open world and yet having it not be such of a problem.
Yeah.
But it's something I think Odyssey failed on. And yeah, that's one of the reasons I'm cautious for Valhalla.
Indeed. Let's move on to number 3 here. I think what I'll do here is I'll kind of read 3 and 4 back to back. We'll
Okay.
talk about both of them and dive in that way. Number 3, Embracer Group has 69 nice
Nice.
unannounced games in development. This is coming from IGN. This is Jordan Oleman, who writes Embracer Group, which owns the likes of Volition, Tarsier, and Experiment 101, has 118 games in development, 69 of which are currently unannounced. The Swedish holding company, which was formerly known as THQ Nordic, revealed the news in its financial earnings reports, which you can check out on their website. Quote, I genuinely believe that we have one of the industry's most exciting pipelines of upcoming games, engaging over 3,000 game developers across the world, the report reads. And then number 4 here in our news segment, Take-Two plans on releasing 93 games in the next 5 years. This is coming from Rebecca Valentine at gamesindustry.biz, who writes, on this past week's Q4 and fiscal 2020 financial results call with investors, Take-Two president Karl Sladoff said that it expected to release a total of 93 new titles in the next 5 years across both internal labels and outside development studio partners. Breaking it down, Sladoff said that 63 of these titles would be core experiences, including 15 platform extensions of existing titles. 17 would be mid-core titles, and 13 would be considered casual games. Holy cow, Ignacio!
Mm-hmm.
These are a lot of video games.
Yeah. And I mean, it makes sense for both of these companies to have so many games in development. For example, Embracer Group, we've known for a while that they have been just buying and buying and buying and buying IP and not doing anything with it. So it makes sense that it all piled up into these 118 games in development.
But what doesn't make sense is how, where do they get this money from? How? Where?
Maybe
Like,
they are.
no, it's just all of a sudden they're just buying up all of this stuff, and they've released almost nothing. There's been like 2 or 3 things I think off the top of my head, but like yeah, 69 unannounced games, 118 currently in development. What are those ones? I don't know.
Well, think of it like this: if you have 118 games in development, you have a bigger chance of one of those at least being a big hit.
For sure.
And if one of those explodes, that may make up for the money lost. Maybe they are betting on that. They are hoping that by having so many games, one of them will hit in a big way that it would pay off all of the IP they bought.
Yeah.
They are just trying to suck the odds in their favor, maybe. And then with Take-Two, I'm looking at their Wikipedia. They own 2K, Private Division, Ghost Story Games, which I don't know what it is, and then Rockstar and Social Point.
Yeah.
So with all of those
Rockstar
studios,
is like one of those games in the next 5 years, maybe.
maybe. I mean, I'm looking at, so those are like those are under Take-Two, and then beneath those, beneath 2K, you have what, like 8 studios, and with beneath Rockstar, you have 8-9 studios.
See,
so what, 18
Take-Two
with that
story
20?
makes a lot more sense to me because they signify over the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Whereas we don't necessarily have a timeline for the ones that Embracer Group has. I'm sure it's something similar. Like, hey, the next 5 years we're gonna release 69 games. Nice. Right, like it might be something like that, but I think it's strange to me that we don't have a timeline. Whereas Take-Two being like, hey, 63 of these titles would be core experiences, 17 would be mid-core games, 13 would be casual, which I'm assuming means like mobile stuff, right? 17 mid-core titles maybe means like AA games, maybe like stuff like that makes sense. Like this doesn't seem as daunting to me, and then all of a sudden Embracer Group is like, we have 69 unannounced games.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to assume that it would be a similar case to Take-Two, where you can divide those games into AAA, mid-tier, and casual.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And also, all 118 games won't come out on the same year. So you have to assume it's probably the same case as with 2K. Or Take-Two. And, I mean, it is on character for them to not talk about much of what they're doing. Like we said, they have been buying and buying and buying and buying AP, and no one has known what they've been doing with it.
Right.
So this is just on character for them.
Yeah. We'll see what they do. I'm sure Embracer Group is also gearing up to release some stuff with these new consoles.
Yeah.
As well, so.
And I'm guessing with all of the showcase we're getting, more than one of those games will be announced.
Speaking of game showcases, let's move on to number 5. Summer Game Fest has 2 more showcases that they announced recently. This is coming from Gama Sutra, but I'll be honest, I couldn't tell who wrote this one. So, yeah, this is coming from Gama Sutra. And they write, Summer Game Fest, an all-digital multi-month global gaming festival, announced today the addition of 2 developer showcase events on June 22nd and July 20th. The developer showcase events will spotlight a select group of upcoming indie and AAA video games, curated by the Day of the Devs team and Jeff Keighley. The Summer Game Fest developer showcases will take place on June. Okay, they already said that. With new content in each live stream, including gameplay, news, and video game musical performances. Fans can tune in via all major streaming platforms and on summergamefest.com.
Man,
So,
June and July.
yeah, so we're starting to get into the season of these like summer game showcase things here.
Mm-hmm.
I know IGN is just about to start up their stuff, and we will talk about them in just a sec. But we got Summer Game Fest still happening, and as we see here, still announcing new things.
Yeah, it's cool to see that they announced 2 showcases, because before we've talked about what exactly Summer Game Fest is and what it's doing. How much is it contributing to the whole slate of announcements, and how much is it just Jeff putting his name into stuff and it being kind of like a glorified Google Calendar. So it is nice to see that stuff is actually coming out of Summer Game Fest.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm excited to see what they are. But there's so much. Like so my prediction is that next year there won't be as many like of these separate different things. GameSpot is making their own thing. IGN is making their own thing.
Do you want to talk about it now, or should we talk
Well,
about it after the 6 and 7?
I'll get to it in a sec here, but like my point is like I almost feel overwhelmed with the amount of stuff that there is. So I'm hoping by next year they do kind of consolidate stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Moving on to number 6 here, which is still more summer game showcase stuff.
Summer of Game.
IGN Summer of Gaming released their schedule. So this is coming from Joe Screbbles at IGN. And they write, "We at IGN are happy to reveal the schedule for our Summer of Gaming event in June, including our brand new IGN Expo showcase, where we'll debut exclusive game reveals, trailers, gameplay demos, and more. We're also excited to announce a series of charity events and special icon segments featuring interviews with iconic developers about some of the world's most influential games." So if we look on their website here in this article, they have a nice infographic detailing all of the stuff that is happening, and it looks like it's gonna be a packed month.
Yeah.
But I'm excited, man. This looks really neat.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that IGN is doing something like this, and it does seem like they got a good amount of games to announce, and not only games, but doing more of the stuff that they would usually do at E3, which is showcasing the games, having interviews, gameplay, all that stuff. So it does seem like they are both doing an event announcing games, but also doing their typical coverage of E3.
Indeed. I'm looking at the graphic right now, and the graphic designer in me is like, yes, this looks amazing. I like this a lot. They got icons for all the different types of stuff of like, hey, this is like a new game announcement versus like this is a trailer versus this is gameplay and stuff like that. This is spiffy. I like this.
Yeah, and it is nice that it seems that it is well spread throughout the month. From June 5th to June 24th. It seems like a good spread.
Indeed. Now, you had put both the link to that article and their a tweet that they had.
Yeah, it was because
tweeted out.
I didn't read the article, so I didn't notice that they put the graphic as a whole.
Gotcha.
The tweet I linked there was just a breakdown of the schedule. It's the same information.
Cool.
Doesn't matter.
We can skip that out. Yeah, I was just like, I don't know if you had something else to add with that one or not. So, moving on to number 7, Sega, NIS America, and Inti Creates and more announce a new digital game showcase for June. This is coming from Eric Van Allen at US Gamer. And they write, a new digital game showcase is joining the growing June lineup. The New Game Plus Expo, or NGPX, is a brand new online expo where 14 publishers are set to announce news and showcase live gameplay demos. NGPX is slated to go live on June 23rd, 2020 on Twitch, starting with the showcase at 8 a.m. Pacific. A live broadcast will follow from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific, featuring interviews and first looks. A number of publishers based out of North America and Japan are on the deck to look at the lineup for 2020 and beyond. Here is the full list of participating publishers for NGPX. Actil, I believe is how you say that first one there.
Sure.
Then Axis Games, Arc System Works America, Atlas, Grasshopper Manufacturer, Gung Ho America, Idea Factory International, Inti Creates, Koei Tecmo, Natsume, NIS America, Playism, Sega of America, SNK, Spike Chunsoft, and Way Forward. What do you think of this one? We have yet another showcase.
I mean, we can get into the question I wanted to ask, which was, what do you think about all the showcases we're getting? Because at the beginning of the year, when we heard that E3 was getting canceled, we all feared that we weren't going to get something like a huge event to where video games would get announced. But now it seems like we're drowning on them all through June and July.
I think it wasn't that we were scared that nothing would happen. I think a lot of people, including us, were like, yeah, I'm sure a lot of companies will take this opportunity to realize that they really don't need E3 to announce their new stuff. They can just make their own thing and put it up on YouTube and stuff like that. However, there are a lot of smaller developers that do rely on this, so they kind of have to band together under something, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm overwhelmed. I do feel like we're kind of drowning in them right now, which is why I was like, hopefully next year they can kind of consolidate. Like, I still like that it's not just a weekend, right? Where it's not like E3 is happening from Thursday to Sunday, and that's it, right? I do like the fact that it's all in 1 month. But I think it would help out the average consumer to consolidate and organize, because there's so much. There's so much, and I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to keep track of it all.
I mean, yeah, to me it does seem like we're drowning on it, because right now we already talked about 3-4 showcases, and that's not even including what individual publishers are going to do, like Ubisoft, or what Kind of Funny is doing with their partners, or GameSpot has also their own thing. Jeff Keighley also has opening night live on August. So it does seem like we're getting a lot. But even then, I personally do love it. I like having new announcements, and it does feel like now we're getting them all rapid fire all at once. And I can't wait for June when all of it is actually happening. When we are actually in there to see if it is indeed overwhelming or if it is indeed like every day we're waking up to Christmas. It would be pretty interesting.
I think there absolutely is still value in having like a set period of time where all these announcements happen to just like, hey, let's celebrate video games. Let's look at the new announcements, the new technology, the new games. Let's do all of that stuff in some kind of set time period, right? There absolutely is still value in that, because I'm loving the fact that we are still getting all of this, and I'm just like, hard eyes. This looks amazing. I want all of these. So,
okay, let me ask you this:
mm-hmm.
Do you think that the death of E3 might have been a good thing?
Yes. I think E3 will be back next year. I mean, they've already announced their dates and stuff like that. I don't know if E3 will be what it was before. Like I think what ended up happening this year is going to end up being a major turning point. We won't know exactly what it'll end up being, but like I think it was a good thing in the long run.
Yeah, right now it does feel like E3's death did bring a lot of stuff, a lot of good stuff. All of these showcases, I do think, were announced as a response to the death of E3, at least for this year. And it would be interesting to see if next year it will be the same, or will it be, I don't know, E3 realizing that people don't need E3 and thus disappearing, and then people realize that they just went all out this year, so next year they won't go all out.
Right.
And what if a void is created next year? I don't know, we'll have to see, but at least for what we're getting this year, starting next month, it is pretty exciting, and maybe, at least for now, it was for the best.
Something else to keep in mind is with everyone working from home, I think we're also going to see a rapid development of technology that will allow that and stuff, and just make it easier to work from home and stuff like that. And with new technology and all of that stuff, there's going to be new creative ways to use that to make content, to make video games, all sorts of stuff. And so it's a big turning point. So we're right in the middle.
For now, it all seems good. Let's see about next year.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, but that does it for our news section, at least for the big stuff. Let's go on to new and notable. Okay, Kerbal Space Program 2 has been delayed to 2021. I've actually never played these games, but I know they're fairly popular. And this one being delayed is a bit of a bummer, because they released the trailer for this a couple months back. I don't remember at what, but it looked really cool. Now I was like, I don't know what that is. I've never heard of it. But yeah, unfortunately, it's been delayed. Kingdom Hearts Dark Road has also been delayed. There has been no release date given for that one. This is the Kingdom Hearts mobile game.
I mean, on one hand, it is a mobile game, so chances are I wasn't going to play it. But on the other hand, it is Kingdom Hearts, so it does suck a bit that it got delayed.
Indeed. Journey to the Savage Planet is out on Switch this week. I believe that game was that earlier this year, or was that late last year?
I got no idea what it is.
I don't. It's like the exploration game. It's kind of like No Man's Sky, but it's a lot smaller in scope, where you can like go and explore and catalog stuff and do that kind of thing.
That sounds a bit familiar.
I remember listening to OK Beast, and they were talking about it and stuff like that. And they seemed to like it, if I remember correctly. But it's now out on Switch. And then next up, as we mentioned at the start, Iron Man VR got a demo that is available now, and the full game will be out July 3rd.
Go play the demo right now if you have PSVR. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, free demo. Go check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Pac-Man Studio was announced for Twitch. Now, I thought this one was fascinating. So Twitch is releasing like a Pac-Man game, I guess you could say. It's co-op multiplayer. I think there's single player two. There's a classic mode, but you can make your own Pac-Man style mazes, and you can publish them, and other people can play them and stuff like that. So fascinating.
Yeah, I don't get exactly what it is, but I don't know. I'm excited to see what it is.
Yeah, we'll see. I did also want to mention the brand new Noclip documentary on the history of Arcane Studios, and how they went from making games like Arx Fatalis and Dark Messiah to Dishonored and Prey. Plus, they are revealing 3 big canceled projects of Arcane's, including The Crossing, LMNO, and a Half-Life spinoff called Raven Home. So you guys should go check that out, and if you like what they do, go support Noclip.
Arcane is such an underrated studio.
Oh yeah, and play Prey, for the love of God. Play
Dishonored
and play Dishonored. Yeah, they're so good.
Yeah,
so good. Okay, Games with Gold. They just released that info today. Let's see. We got Shantae and the Pirate's Curse and Coffee Talk. Those will both be on Xbox One in June. And then we also have Destroy All Humans and Cinemora, I believe is how
Cinemora.
Cinemora. Those will both be available on Xbox One and Xbox 360. So check out those ones. And then for the PS Plus games,
interestingly
we only had
enough,
one of them confirmed, but we don't know what the second one, or if there will be a second one.
No, it was such a weird announcement because it was announced sooner than usual.
Yeah.
We're still some days away from June, and they usually like to wait till the last moment. But also, second is that the game is actually coming out on May, not even June.
Yeah. When I was looking this up, it looked like it had leaked first, and then Sony came out and confirmed it and was just like, yeah, it's available now. So you guys can go pick up Call of Duty World War II right now if you guys are a PlayStation Plus subscriber.
And the rumor going around is that the second game is Spider-Man for the PS4.
I've heard that. I don't know if I believe that, though.
I think it might have also been on that leak. So, I don't know. I haven't looked into it. I just read it on several places that the rumor was that Spider-Man is the other one.
Yeah. I don't know if I would picture them putting both of those big games on there.
I do.
usually, from what I can tell, it's like one big game and then like one smaller one, right? Um,
Mm,
but
I do see
we
them
also
doing
had,
something like that.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, we're so close to the end of the generation. Why not?
sure.
Last
But
last
if
time they also released some good games. But yeah.
if they do also, I mean, well, I guess regardless if the second one is Spider-Man or not, uh, it could potentially explain why this past month was so bad. Of
Sure.
stuff like maybe they spent less money on these games, and that's why it was the games weren't all that great, so that they could
Or
save
maybe
up for
it's
this month.
overcompensating. Maybe it's overcompensating.
Who knows? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
indeed. So we'll see what the next PlayStation Plus game is very soon. I'm sure we will have that for next week. But that's all for the new and notable, so let's get on to the upper runners. Opening Night Live has been given a date. That's going to be happening August 27th.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for that. That is Jeff Keighley's thing. Jeff Keighley's one night stand, as Greg Miller likes to call it.
Yeah.
So that should be good. That's gonna go along with all of these showcases and developer interviews and stuff like that. That's exciting
Opening Night Live
stuff.
is part of Gamescom.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I've been saying indeed a lot
Indeed.
recently. I just noticed that. Number 2 on the upper runners. Rumor has it that the next Call of Duty game is reportedly going to be Black Ops Cold War.
Which is a weird name considering that the first Black Ops was about the Cold War.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say it's weird considering that. That would make sense of like, hey, let's go back to our roots. Let's go back to the Cold War. But it is strange, just in general, that it is the Cold War. The Cold War was a lot of like standstills.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, they already did a Cold War game, so there's probably more there to squeeze out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if this is them kind of doing what they did with Modern Warfare. And
Yeah,
just,
sure,
like,
because
relaunching it. Be like, hey, let's go back to the Cold War and let's do the whole crazy numbers thing. The numbers, what do they mean?
well, yeah, because Black Ops 2 and 3, if I'm not mistaken, they both were kind of like futuristic games. After Black Ops 1 was about the Cold War.
Mm-hmm.
So they obviously went very far away from where they started. So it could be a situation where kind of like Call of Duty World War II, going back to World War II, its roots. They want to go back to Black Ops' roots.
Yeah. We'll see. Next up, Tencent is now supporting System Shock 3's development. Tencent has a finger in everyone's pie.
Yep.
They own a lot of stuff.
A lot.
So I've never played any of the System Shock games, but I've been kind of loosely keeping tabs on System Shock 3 because I really like that type of game. I'm a big fan of BioShock. I'm a big fan of Prey, stuff like that. Okay. I think last System Shock was in the news. I think it got delayed. I don't remember. But
makes sense. I mean, System Shock is a name you've heard for years because it has been kind of like that game stuck in development hell, never coming out.
Yeah. So we'll see. But Tencent was like, hey, here's a buttload of money.
Yeah.
There you go. Next up, G2A is going to be paying Factorio developer $39,000 after allowing illegal game keys to be sold on their website. This is a news story that I don't want to say I've been following, but I heard a lot about last year when it was happening. G2A is a website where you can buy digital keys for video games, and it doesn't have the best reputation. Let's put it that way.
It's one of those sites that the industry doesn't like because of all the shady things they do.
Indeed, yeah. And it came to light that they were doing this stuff, and G2A tried to defend themselves as best they could, and they came out with a statement that was basically like, hey, if you guys can prove it, we will pay you like however much of the damages were. Because I think if it's something along the lines of, if I use a stolen key, in the long run somehow it ends up charging the developer money, like it ends up costing them some stuff. So they were like, hey, if anyone can prove it, we will actually pay you in full. And this is the first time that someone has been like, yeah, let's make that happen, and they proved it. So good on the Factorio developers for getting their money.
Yeah.
And I guess we don't need to mention this last one because I mentioned that at the start of the news. We will talk about Last of Us Part 2 stuff a little bit more next week. So there you go. That's it. That's all we got for you this week. Ignacio,
yo,
what are you excited for this next week? Are you going to be jumping back into a certain game? Trying something new?
Nah, I don't think so. I'll keep playing what I've been playing so far. More AC Origins. I think I'll be able to progress a bit further.
Okay.
Still playing more Final Fantasy VII. Like I said before, I want to see it all the way through. Picross here and there. Yeah, I mean, I often play random games here and there. For example, yesterday I played Civilization 6. So I'm guessing I don't know what I'll play next. But yeah, the games I mentioned, I'll keep playing them.
Yeah. I'm kind of biding my time until The Last of Us Part 2. So I want to finish Shadow of the Colossus. That's a short one, so I'll still have a couple weeks before The Last of Us Part 2. So I might see if I can dig into this thing about me getting a copy of Resident Evil 3 and play that on my PC.
Yeah,
that way,
for sure.
That's a game that came out this year, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. That one, but
we shall see.
Yeah, this week is actually gonna be pretty busy for me between setting up my computer stuff. We're watching season 2 of Mr. Robot for the review show. I have a few episodes of that I still need to watch. All sorts of stuff, man. Good. It's fun, though. I love making these podcasts. That being said, this is episode 27 of Crossplay. We will see you guys next week. Oh, wait. I guess we should do our social media stuff. That might be helpful. Ignacio, where can they find you online?
Well, they can find me on Twitter at Ignas Rojas B. That's IGNACIOROJSB. That's my name.
You guys can find me at Yo Kyle Springer on Twitter and Instagram. If you guys want to stay up to date with any of our podcasts, we are at the Whatnauts on Twitter. Go like, share, subscribe, do all of that stuff. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel. I think right now we're at 71 subscribers. So we are getting closer and closer to 100. And I think once we reach 100, we can get our custom URL, which would be fantastic. So you guys want to support us there, that would be great. But let's get out of here for now. Like I said, this was episode 27 of Crossplay. We will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for checking out our podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below. You guys are excited for the Summer Games Fest, IGN, Summer of Games, all of that stuff. I don't know. There's so much of it. But let us know in the comments below if you guys are excited. I have the hiccups. Oh my God. In the meantime, go subscribe to our channel right up here in that corner and go watch one of our other videos down there. That would help us out a ton. So next time, bye.